Good morning. My name is Renee. I'm running for Cary Town Council District C. I hail from western North Carolina, a small town called Brevard that you may be familiar with, and come to Cary by way of Dallas, Texas, where I went to school, and then Atlanta, Georgia, where I spent a number of years, including the time that I had my children. We've been just over 13 years in the Triangle area and about 12 years here in Cary. We came during the recession in 2009. Right now, I'm in the process of closing my homeschool of 18 years. I have 3 homeschool graduates that I'm very proud of, and who all have jobs, or in the case of one of them, she's in Amman, Jordan today, under contract to speak only Arabic for the next month and a half. I've been very active in Cary in the 13 years that I've been in this area. I was part of the Imagine Cary project, defining plans for downtown and for Cary. I'm currently serving on the Greenway Committee, where we advise the town council about our greenways and green spaces. I've participated in voter education for the Cary community for a number of years, and I just think it's really important to support the right to vote and the opportunity to vote for every single citizen. During my years as a homeschooler, I was the leader in the Homeschool Speech and Debate Society, where I coached for 7 years. My favorite event is extemporaneous speaking. This is the Current Events Limited Prep Event and Debate organization. My last years as a homeschool teacher were spent volunteering for First Reliance, which is an exciting way for young people to get involved with technology, hands-on. And it's helped my son select a career that's right for him. We are very excited that the skills that he learned in robotics, including CAD, are part of his job today. I look forward to the opportunity to serve the town of Cary, because I have found that in my walks around Cary over the last 4 months, my heart for Cary has only grown, and I hope that I will have that opportunity come August. Thank you.
Great to see you all here. I'm Councilmember Jack Smith, and I'm running for re-election here in District C. And when I look around the room, I see many familiar faces, but interestingly, I see many more new faces, and that's exciting. Now, think about it. Hardly a month goes by that Cary isn't singled out for praise by some magazine, business review, or survey. And in this campaign, my challenge is to remind all of you how this wonderful place came to be, and how we remain one of the most desirable places in the nation. Today, during this debate, you'll get a taste of that, but bluntly, not very much. And I appeal to you all to go to my website, jackforcary.org, and just kind of read up on what makes me tick. But here's my Cliff Notes perspective. Cary became the desirable place it is today, in large part because the councils over the years have earned a reputation for remaining above extreme partisanship and political bickering. We address the local issues that are near and dear to our citizens. We put aside our personal differences, and we sought common ground to get the job done. That's how it should be. And my time on council has been dedicated to listening and addressing your concerns. And I'm proud of my ability to bring people together, address the issues that are facing us, and move our community forward. Yes, though much has been accomplished, there's always more to do, and I'm up to that challenge. Let's not go backwards. Help me keep Cary the place we're proud to call home. And I ask for your vote on July 26th, or join me right after the meeting. Early voting just started, and I'm going to walk over and vote, and I hope you'll join me. So thank you very much.
I'm the at-large the Cary Town Council. I'm the local guy in the race. I want to serve you, serve Cary. My 3 brothers and I attended Cary High School, Cary Elementary, right up the street. My mom served as the PTA president at Cary Elementary. Then later, she taught school there. We grew up on Jones Franklin Road. My dad was a professor at NC State. For years, he taught in animal science there at Husbandry. Before that, he spent 4 years in NC State. I graduated from Cary High. Worked as a photographer for the Cary News, the Raleigh Times. You've heard that, and you've been around a while. If you haven't done the Raleigh Times, you haven't been here very long. Well, I guess they've been on a while. And the News Observer as well. All of our 6 children graduated as analysts. You know, why does that matter? Because it all has to do with the heart of Cary. And that's why I'm here. Understanding the past helps me to understand where we are and where we need to go. You may have heard we've had 18 grandchildren. We're actually camping out at Jordan Lake with a lot of them this week. I didn't spend the night there last night. I wanted to be presentable this morning. So I finished our jet skiing up yesterday afternoon and went home and got ready to come today. I'll be heading back to the lake and jet ski for the rest of the day. The election is about the future and about what the kids are going to have to grow up and carry, because you're voting for the future. You're not voting for the present. You're not voting for the past. You're voting on the future. My first small business was photography. I started when I was 15 years old. Get an idea how much traffic has changed. I rode my bicycle from Jones Franklin Road to downtown Raleigh to get my privilege license. Now today they would consider it crazy. I just want to make sure that you guys know my heart. And my heart is to serve. Been doing that since I moved to Cary in 1988 to where we live now. Co-moved wanted me to chair the Sister Cities Commission, where I later served as president. It's an important thing for me to be of service to you, and that's why I'm running, to serve you and for Cary's future. Thank you.
First, thank you to the Heart of Cary Association for doing this. I know it's quite a bit of work, and I really appreciate this opportunity. As I think this is the only forum before the election, so this is, I think, incredibly helpful so that folks can get an idea of, particularly folks that supported another candidate, of what the options are in the runoff. So I appreciate the time of doing this. About me, I don't do a great job focusing on myself, but I do want to introduce myself as I love Cary. I've been in North Carolina 25 years, so I've been here a little bit longer than I was ever in New York, so I'm Southern now. I can drink sweet tea, so that makes me Southern. I've decided that's my rule. 22 years here in Cary, 15 living downtown. I look over and nobody knows what Forest Park is, but the Sears robot homes from the 40s. I love downtown Cary, but I love Cary. I love all of it, I really do. And I attended undergrad in New York, and I went to Nazareth College and SUNY School, started junior college. Came here to go to NC State, been here ever since. Nothing can get me north of the Mason-Dixon line. I studied sociology, gerontology, zoology, lots of ologies. So naturally, I'm a technical software marketer. Really, it was a roundabout way to get there. That's what I do to earn a living, but that's not really what will get you a good idea of what I'm like. What I do is focus on my daughter, and I have for 18 years. She's a sophomore at UNC Charlotte. She went Cary Elementary all the way through Cary High, and now she's going with me. She doesn't need me that much, so I have a lot of time and energy that I firmly spent on her to perhaps help move the needle, to be of assistance to other people. I'm naturally a person that I seek to serve. I was taught by my parents that if you can do for others, you do it. No questions. It's just one of those things that was drilled into my head since I was a child. That's why I'm running. I was a member of the ISAB, the Information Services Advisory Board, the Cary 150, a couple of things with the town, and I got to know a lot of the staff, and I got to know a lot of residents, and I'm a sworn guardian ad litem with Wake County court system as well. So that's how I spend the time that I care most about. But I'm running. I just want to share this quickly. I know what housing insecurity feels like. I've been preparing to run for office for the last 20 years. I got in now because I saw, last year people were really, really concerned with the housing crisis that was looming. So it got me in now, and I hope that now support those efforts.
Management that I've met seems to be incredibly competent, in fact very thorough. I've been impressed with the job that they do providing information to council. As far as the decision-making process, I actually think that one of the things that we need to do is not just provide the opportunity for citizens to participate, because we are having a problem with just opening that trees, managing development, being sure that we have the infrastructure to support that development prior to development occurring. And not to mention getting rid of the potholes where we can. So I think that we can help our management make better decisions by offering better communication with the community, but it's on the citizens and on us to inspire them to participate.
Well, I'd like to think we're succeeding, but like a journey, it's never ending. We can always do better. When I first ran for council, I ran because I didn't think the council was listening to the citizens. And so I ran because I wanted to fix that. And so communications, how we reach out to the council, how we talk, how we make sure our concerns has always been a priority. And through the years, with our boards and commissions, we now have an information services advisory board. We have several means of communication so that people have the opportunity. And my personal pride and joy is the 311 system. We are getting big and things are complex, but if you've got a problem, a question, and you just don't know where to go and you can't find me, that's the first thing you can always find me. But go to 311, just call 311 and put your question there. And what you'll get is you'll get an answer. And not only that, it's then documented. And we have an opportunity to follow up and make sure that your concern, be it a pothole, be it a broken light, whatever, is fixed. And, I think I'd stand by my accomplishments of being the citizen advocate, and I seek your support again in this runoff election. Thank you.
The honest truth is, I believe there needs to be some adjustments to the housing types that are allowed in some areas of Cary. And I mean this very selectively, and I'm not talking about town-wide lifting of restrictions. But if we're going to build in an environmentally friendly way and do it more densely, and if we're going to create homeownership opportunities for people that are at more modest incomes, we need to have a more varied housing type in some areas of Cary. So I do believe that if we adjust some of the zoning in some select areas where the infrastructure is right for those types of more dense housing or those different housing types besides only single-family detached homes, I think that is a practical way to solve what is a looming crisis that's only going to get much more significant. As I understand it, I think these are 2019 numbers. 73% of the homes in Cary are single-family detached. From an environmental perspective, that's not ideal. And from a home ownership and from a density perspective, that presents a special kind of challenge that I think that we can ease with a little bit of opening up of the zoning for varied housing types.
So this is something that I've been talking about for some time. You can hear there may be a question later. If you have another question, we'll let you know. I'll answer different. But accessory dwelling units is one of the things that's going to be addressed at the retreat in August in council. I didn't make it the last quarterly meetings. It's going to be on this one. Accessory dwelling units or granny flats is a zoning ordinance that needs to change. It's got restrictions and there's relationships to the current size of the house. That needs to be looked at in a big way because it provides a varied opportunity for people to put a garage apartment or a granny flat in their house. I also believe that it's not just a zoning thing, but we need to look carefully at how the money we spend on, there's a program. I asked one of the last meeting I was in here with the chamber sponsor, who knew that if you had low income and your house had a hole in it, that you could call the town of Cary and fill out a form and get help from the town of Cary. We need to extend that program and publicize that program to help our people that are struggling with accessory dwelling units. The granny flats is one way to help those people to allow them to rent some of their property to get income from it. So it solves two problems with one. But that accessory dwelling is the first thing I want to tackle. So.
Our next question is for the District C candidates. There's been talk about Cary revising the ordinances regarding accessory dwelling units, residential districts, and utility dwelling units in the higher density districts in downtown Cary. What's your vision for so, what might get in the way of its implementation?
I feel like I got Ken's question. Accessory dwelling units are probably something that we need to do, and it's not a matter of really asking the question about whether they need to be done. It's more about how we need to do it. Right now, that opportunity just isn't there, and it probably won't be there all over Cary. The continued restrictions in our planned developments around town, where everyone has an HOA and covenants, that probably won't change too much. But where we have opportunities outside of the organizations that are covenanted, we should be looking into accessory dwelling units. One of the things we'll have to be considering is how to manage them in such a way that they don't cause additional problems in the existing neighborhoods. I've heard from constituents in District C who have multiple families living in one house, and they've said the biggest problem is the traffic. So we have to think about how do we balance the need for housing with keeping our neighbors happy and their property values high.
Thank you. I'll start with the granny flats. I think this is a classic example where it's a well-intended solution, and it is part of the solution. But here are the challenges that we come up with, and that is half the homes in Cary are in HOAs, homeowners associations, and those HOAs are going to have to find a way to accommodate that. It will not be something we can impose on them as a town. So that's one thing. The other thing is we are built out, and there are spots that I think it would be ideal. And I'm excited to look into those. But I think Renee actually hit on it very well. I appreciate that. And that is we have to look at the other opportunities out there. And that means looking at areas that have been have become dated, like old strip malls that no longer serve that purpose. They can be redeveloped. What a perfect place where we can address those needs and at the same time not impose upon established neighborhoods.
Let's talk about downtown automobile and pedestrian traffic. Just a year away from the park's completion, do you believe we're ready to manage the flow of vehicles and people? If not, how would you mitigate those concerns or change the situation?
As you know, it's a problem now coming downtown. When the park's open, it's going to get, I think, exponentially worse. It's wonderful for pedestrians. It's pretty good. We bike from downtown. My wife and I have e-bikes. We come downtown. It doesn't take us less than 10 minutes to get downtown. And but yet there's some reticence to ride on the streets. The e-bike makes it better because at least you can keep up with traffic and stay on the street. I think it's only going to get worse when it's open. And I don't believe we've got the infrastructure to handle it. I think we're going to have more major problems, and those of you that live downtown are going to see it get even worse. I think we've got to look at ways where we can park. Councilman Smith mentioned some strip malls and maybe places where people are going to have to park and come down to events because the parking deck's not going to hold enough. The parking decks are not going to hold enough when the decks get built. All the decks are built. So I think we've got to be creative and look at it. I mean, has anybody ridden the little autonomous car out at Bond Park yet? Anybody been brave enough? Nobody been brave enough to ride the autonomous car? There's an idea to get people from a parking place to downtown safely, hopefully safely from autonomous car. But yeah, I think it's going to get worse.
Thank you very much. It's now time for closing remarks.
I love it. I've got thoughts. I live downtown. I live at the corner, near the corner of Hunter and Chatham, and I can tell you, as a downtown resident, 15 years, it is getting, pulling out of my driveway, we joke, like you have to stop twice and look, right? Traffic downtown is becoming a challenge. I think that as far as parking is concerned, I'm going to admit I am not a parking expert. My first question to a lot of folks on staff would be, what do you think? I've met some of the most capable human beings on the planet, on the town of Cary staff. I'd like to know what they think. But I also think this decision should have a great deal of input from downtown residents and businesses. So I will admit that this is one of those areas where I'm not an expert. I can tell you from a safety perspective, though, the speed limit downtown needs to be reduced. I think that will discourage people using it as a commuter, zone. And I also believe that there are traffic calming measures. I saw some really great stuff as part of the Chapel Hill Road feedback that they got from citizens, where it would be a really, really great, thing to really invest in some traffic calming and just make the downtown area not someplace people really want to drive through, but drive to. So that's my answer. Is that I don't know, but also I think we should do these things. Thank you. There's some other things I want to do before I leave here. I want to give you an idea. You know what I stand for. It's on that card in front of you, right? And I need those, and I will vote to those core beliefs. I am open to listen. I'm open to learn. But those core beliefs, safe affordable housing is critical. It's all I ever talk about, I feel like, but it's really important. When I say Cary needs to be a green leader, I don't think the town should be building things without solar panels on the roof. I do believe that we have an opportunity as a town to both build to a green standard and to also incentivize developers to do so as well. I believe also that if we're going to be an inclusive place, we need to adjust some of the things, not do it exactly how we've always done it. We've always done it well, but I think there's a way we can get more people involved and get better, broader input. When you have a diversity of ideas coming in, you get better decisions. I want to ask you humbly for your vote. I do need it. I'm ready to get to work. I've got a lot of energy. I think it's probably pretty clear. I'm both nervous and excited. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to work with Jack and other council people. There's a lot of things that we do really, really well. We just need to start adapting to some of the more modern challenges. I feel like Cary is fabulous. I think it can be even more fabulous if we're really mindful of some of the critical challenges, which are very different than we faced in the past. And we just need to adapt and stand true to some of the things that work really, really well. So for that reason, I ask for your vote. I really appreciate y'all's time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. I'd also like to especially thank my wife, Karen, 44 years this summer coming up. I served from 2015 to 19 on the council. And sometime during 19, she came to me and she said, I know you're having an affair. You're in love with another woman. Her name is Cary. I see the sparkle in your eyes when you talk about her. What I really appreciate is that she has sacrificed a lot of time. She sacrificed a lot of time for me, a lot of time doing things she'd rather be doing. As have I, for things that I could be doing, but not that I'd rather be doing. Because serving Cary has got to be at the top of the list for me. I get a little teary-eyed when I think back to high school days, and I see a high school classmate over here today. Every time the Cary High School band would step off to march, we stepped off and we said C-A-R-Y, and we kicked off. No one knew that Cary was around the country back then. No one. Mayor Fred Watt put us on the map. The Cary High School band helped all along the way. We marched to the Rose Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Kentucky Derby, the President's inauguration. Then we went to the Fête de Genève in Geneva, Switzerland. I got a learning to speak French. And I wound up majoring in French in college, so that's why I'm hardly moving right now. It was so important to me to be on that trip and see Mayor Fred Bond get the key to a city. It made an impression for me forever to want to serve in Cary. It was such a great experience last fall to get a Bond to Turkey and to exchange gifts with the mayor of London and help us establish a sister city in Turkey, our fifth sister city. Participated in the first two and had an opportunity to participate in the fifth. Cary means a lot. And we'd like to close and say something, one thing on affordable housing. The Raleigh Wake Citizens Association has endorsed me based on what they wrote as my support and vision for affordable housing in Cary. This is near to my heart. I invite you to go to oneway.org and read my statement on affordable housing and learn a little bit more about it. Thank you so much.
Cary is truly unique, and our quality of life is second to none. But as we've heard this morning, though much is accomplished, there's always much more to do. And make no bones about it, those challenges are complex, and there is no silver bullet or easy solution. But we can make a difference, and I'm up for that challenge. We haven't talked today about affordable housing. We haven't talked about the environment. But those are all the things that help us make Cary that special place. I started on this council when Cary was 20,000 people. We're now 180,000. And I suspect many, if not most of you, came here after I was first elected. And you came here because we were a safe, family-friendly place with a broad spectrum of amenities. Safe. It has a whole new sense of perspective now, doesn't it? Again, another shocking story on Independence Day. And as great as Cary is, and as high a quality of life that we have, we will not have a bright future if public safety does not remain our number one priority. No one wants to live, work, learn, operate a business, or retire where public safety isn't government's highest priority. And for the record, I have asked the town to review its current level of preparedness and to consider what more we can and should be done to ensure the highest level of readiness to respond in the event an active shooter or domestic terror situation happens. And it will be for discussion at our next meeting. Let's not go backwards. We will not compromise on safety or the environment or affordable housing. Vote Jack Smith on July 26th, or again, I'll remind you, join me after this meeting. We'll walk down to early voting together.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you to the Heart of Cary Association for hosting this event. It's always very helpful to have an opportunity to meet with a group of citizens during this campaign. And it has lasted longer than I think any of us thought it would. Community, public safety, we know we're going to grow. We know that our infrastructure needs to balance. And we are going to have to be working to be sure that we don't collect more taxes than we need, especially as our property values rise. Those are going to be among the jobs that Cary Town Council is responsible for. It is important that we keep this a beautiful place to live with a high quality of life and public safety and being able to recruit competent police and firefighters, and not to mention our sanitation workers and other people who do the more invisible jobs to keep our town safe and beautiful is important. The implication regarding partisanship and division is false. There is absolutely no reason why Cary cannot support the diversity of opinions on the council. In fact, that is a necessity. It is necessary that we have different opinions so that we can go from just plain good to just great. And that is to be able to debate openly, confidently, and honorably is an important function of being on our town council. At least one fresh perspective is necessary for Cary to keep looking into the future and growing, and I offer that. I encourage you to go to my website, votereneemiller.com, to learn more. Or feel free to call me up. My phone number is listed right there. I have had a life of service to my community, to business, and to family. And I offer that degree of service and dedication to Cary as your candidate for Cary Town Council, District C. Again, go to votereneemiller.com to learn more. and I hope to see you at early